Good morning, students.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Dr.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, Doctor.
Okay, okay. Today we are going to discuss Chapter 6 in our course. But before that, we need just to have something to decide earlier. That is, we need just to have an assignment for the oral exam.
Yes,
So
doctor.
I'm going to explain to you first what we are going to do in the assignment. Okay, the assignment will be suggesting a title, a research title, and explaining orally the outline of the suggested title. How is it to be done? I'm going to show you an example. Okay, I wonder whether you can see now the file. Can you see the
Yes,
file here?
Yes, Doctor, it's clear.
Okay. Here in this file, we have different titles. Okay. So let us see how can we explain orally the outline of each title. Okay. Let us see number one, the impact of structured output activities in developing speaking skill of language learners. Okay. First of all, the title is about methodology, methods of teaching. Okay. So how can I put an outline for this? First of all, I'm going to explain the aim of the study. Okay. Here, what is the aim? The aim is to recognize the influence of certain activities, okay, on what? On developing the speaking skill. Speaking is one of the language skills.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So here, in this case, I decided the aim. What is the aim? It is to recognize the influence or the impact of structured output activities. These are classroom activities. In what? In developing a speaking skill of language learners. So in this case, I decided the aim. This is one. Okay. Do we have a practical part? We say no. We don't have practical part. It's only just to describe the influence, and that's it. You see now? This is what I need you just to do. So this is an example. So you have a title, then you explain to me orally the aim, and is there a practical part or not? This is what you are going to do. So is that okay? So you are going to select any title. It's about linguistics or literature or any field of study which is related to your own study. Is that okay? This is just to do for the coming
Doctor, we
week.
didn't get the
Doctor,
Okay,
we
so
will
for each student,
ourselves just
for each student, I need a title. This title will be delivered to me where in the assignment. It's only a title. It's only a title. The explanation will be done orally, and that's why we say that this assignment is for what? For the oral exam. I wouldn't like any kind of writing. Do not write the aim. Do not write anything. Only the title. So is that okay?
we
Yes,
give the
Doctor.
title.
Okay, I'm going to, prepare
Can you
for
repeat
this
it?
as an assignment will be given in the class. Okay, so you are going to deliver only the title. You are going to send me the title, and then I'm going to choose by names. Okay, for each student, I'm going to see the title, and then the student will explain to me the title. What is the aim? Is there a practical part or not? Just to have an outline for a suggested title. But the explanation will be done orally. I wouldn't like the aim to be written. I wouldn't like the just like what I did now. So is it understood? Is there any
Yeah,
question for that?
doctor, just write the title and assignment and send it,
Yeah,
please.
and that's it. And that's it.
Yes.
And
And
then
explain
when I
orally the
yeah
material.
when I call you when I Okay, when I examine you, you are going to explain the title. You are going to explain the aim. Okay, let us see the other example. Okay, just to make it, clear for a student. We have another title, Jigsaw and Information Gap Activities, a comparative study. We say that this is related to, again, to methods of teaching. The aim is just to compare between two activities. We don't have a practical part. It's only showing the differences and the similarities between two activities. You see now?
Yes, doctor, it's
So
clear.
this is
Yes.
what I need, because this will be an oral exam. You know, we have a definite mark. This is 10 marks for this assignment, because it will decide the oral mark for each student.
Doctor,
All
is
students,
this
all students should
question?
participate. All the students should send me titles for these things. So is that okay?
Okay,
دكتور
yes.
محددين فقط بسؤال
Okay, this will be done for the coming week. Okay, but you see now, it will be done within the lecture. What does it mean? It means that I'm going to have, for example, 1 hour for the lecture and 1 hour for the oral exam. And of course, all students will participate. I'm going to make you as groups. What does it mean? For each group, 20 students, 30 students are going to participate, and the others will be for the coming week. So it will be, from the coming week till the end of the course. What does it mean? It means that not all students will do it in one lecture. It will be
Yes, doctor.
divided, and all students will participate according to their names or according to the choice that I'm going to do.
Yes, yes, doctor.
Any question about that?
دكتور بليز
Yes.
احنا محددين بس سؤالين شنو الايم وشنو
Yeah.
كان
This again, it is according to your topic. Maybe your topic is related to a practical part, for example. When I say, for example, the performance of EFL learners in using present perfect and past tense. Okay,
Yes.
this will include a practical part, that is a test.
Yes.
Okay, so you are going to explain to me how can you make your test.
Doctor, we
So
can
it
sometimes
depends.
add
So
some
it depends.
definition.
Suppose that you have something about literature. You are going to tell me something which is different from other fields of study, just like linguistics or even methods of teaching. So it depends. So it depends on the title itself. So the points will not be the points will not be the same for all students, according to their own title. But of course, we don't. We are going to have some basic points. That is the aim. The aim is very necessary. Okay, and we have, for example,
practical part.
hypothesis. If it is just to be, considered, if we have hypothesis.
We
I
can
have
consider
Shahid Ahmed.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, tell me.
Doctor, you mean after we send to you the title, after
Yeah.
we choose the title, and after that you will ask your exam.
Yeah, I'm going to ask by names, for example, or I'm going to divide you into groups. Okay. For example, you are going to examine. Okay, I'm going to show you your title on the screen, and then we are going to discuss it. For each student, the title will be on screen. We are going to read it together. I'm going to read it with the student, and the students will explain orally what is required, what is the aim, if there is a practical part, if there is a hypothesis. So this will be explained orally without writing these things earlier in the assignment. Only the
So-
title. Yeah.
So you will ask me about explain and the aim.
The
title?
aim, if there is a practical part, what we are going to do, what we are going to discuss in the title, what you are going to do in the title. What is the aim? What is the aim? So it will not take too much. Okay,
Yes.
just like
what is
I did
important?
now. Just like what I did just now. You see now, when I explained each title, I didn't take too much time. Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
I mean, I explained briefly the outline that I did.
Yes.
Yeah. Hajar Ahmad. Yes, Hajar Ahmad.
Can we choose any title or you limited?
Yeah, you are free to choose any title.
Okay.
You are free. I'm not going to specify which field that you are going to write about. Methods of teaching, linguistics, grammar, literature. You are free. I mean, choose the title that you are going to explain about. I mean, it depends on your ability and your interest. This is, yeah. Sarah, you have a question?
Doctor, you will send the assignment after the lecture?
The discussion will be within the time of the lecture. What does it mean? It means that I'm going to specify a time for discussion within the time of the lecture. Suppose that we have 2 hours. Okay, the first hour is about the material. I mean, what do we have in the textbook? And then we are going to move to discuss your own titles. This is.
So where we find the title in assignment?
Yeah, because later on, once I finish the lecture, I'm going to decide an assignment to be delivered to you in the Google Classroom, and then you are going to send it there.
Yes.
Doctor, can we add some extra details to clarify maybe the topic?
It depends on you, but I wouldn't like something to be written because this is related to the oral exam. You know, when I have something oral, it means that I'm testing your ability to explain orally without reading, because when you read, you did nothing. But when I'm going to have the title only, so your responsibility is just to explain orally what you have without having something to be written.
Doctor, I mean, when we talk, when you examine,
when you examine, you are free to speak whatever you like to explain your own title.
Thank you. It's clear.
Yeah. Any other question?
No, Doctor, no.
Okay. Now,
No.
we are going to start discussing chapter 6, but I'm going to tell you that I mean, within the time of the lecture, I may shift from the laptop to the mobile. Okay, so I mean, you have to understand that there is something just to be done within the lecture. So if there is a cut, you have to know that there is a shift between the laptop and the mobile. I'm telling you from the beginning. Is that okay?
Yes,
Doctor.
yes.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So I want you just to go to your book and just to see chapter 6, using research material. One of the most important lessons in the research paper process is learning how to present the quotations, paraphrases, and summaries you've worked hard to find. To succeed, you will have to resist almost irresistible the urge to write a paper that displays your research material instead of using it for support. So what does this mean? It means that we are going to tackle in this chapter how to use these tools that we explained earlier in the previous chapters, I mean, more specifically in chapter 4. We know now what is quotation, what is paraphrasing, what is summary, but how to use it, how to put it in your own research paper, and what is I mean, just to do practically, okay, and what is the aim behind all these things. So we are going to discover these things in this chapter. Keep in mind that your goal is not to draw attention to good quotations, but to use all kinds of research material to persuade your readers to accept your thesis. This is very important point. That is what using quotation. It is not just to use it for the sake of using and that's it. To say that I'm having quotation or I'm having paraphrase. No, this is not the aim. The aim, as we said, to persuade, and this is very important word or a key word for these tools. It's just to persuade your reader of these. So these are one of your own support, or what these are evidences to make your reader to be with you in your title. So here, using these tools are the support of your research title. It's just to make reader to be with you in the title. Yes, you want your reader to notice how good the material is, but you also want your readers to notice that you use it correctly, to reinforce your ideas with the convincing support. You want your readers to think this is really an interesting, convincing paper, not just look like some good quotations here and there. So get the point now? So these things, as we said, that quotation, paraphrase, and summary, they are not used without aim. So the aim is just to convince your reader and to make readers be persuaded with your pieces. Now, when to quote? As a general rule, quote only when you have a good reason to do so. So we have reasons. Use summaries and paraphrase the rest of the time. Beginning writers often reverse this rule. What does this mean? You remember that we said that we use these tools with percentage. You know percentage. We say that 80% will be for paraphrase and what? And summaries. And very few, or let me say, very limited portion for quotation. But beginning writers, okay, those, beginners to write research, reverse, do the opposite. They do too much quotations, and then with paraphrase and summaries, it will be very few, and this is wrong. You know why? Because this will not represent your own style. So where is you here if you are going to concentrate on quotations? If quotations are too much, okay, this will be wrong. Hajar, you have something?
Yes, Doctor, you mean style of writer, main writer.
Yeah. So the idea here, if you are having too much quotations, this will not help you. This will not, represent that you are doing something, okay? So if it is of two quotations, it will be only a photocopy, okay? Quoting frequently and almost exclusively, probably because paraphrasing and summarizing require an extra step, mentally processing. So you see now? So beginners see that, paraphrasing and summarizing is something difficult for them because it depends on their own style, and this needs some sort of development, and it has some sort of mental processes just to reach these abilities, just to summarize or paraphrase. So since quotations are easier to be done, they focus on it and leaving paraphrasing and summary. The material and converting it to the writer's own words. But therein lies the value, because paraphrases and summarizes are the writer's own words, they draw less attention to themselves and interrupt the flow of the paper less. Most of the time, they also make for greater economy and sharper focus for supporting evidence. The result is that the readers are more likely to stay with the logic of the paper, the argument being presented, than when they run up against quotations after quotation. You see now here, you write for others just to read, okay? So how can you expect readers if your writing is full of quotations? So here, the writer should think of the readers, okay, when they read, I mean, what is written. If it is wrongly, okay, this will not achieve the aim of persuading readers. We need readers just to be with us. So here, if we are not recognizing ourselves in our writing, how can we expect that readers will be persuaded? So this is the idea. So we have to recognize ourselves as writers by using paraphrasing and summarizing. We are not using quotations for having photocopy of others' ideas. Where is our style? Where is our own wording? This is what we need. So is that okay? Is it understood up to
Yes,
this
yes,
point?
doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Understood.
Yes, doctor, it's clear.
Now, criteria for quoting. Still, there are good reasons to quote, and probably selected quotations can be the most effective parts of your paper. One good time to quote is when the original material is worded especially well, when not just the content but the style too is worth retaining. So this is reason number one. What does this mean? It means that the idea that we want just to discuss, okay, if it is to be worded in a specific way in which we, I mean, this idea will be more clarified in quotation, it will be okay. So here, this will falsify if we are going to paraphrase something just to be clearly to be, presented by quotation. So it will be falsified if it is to be what? If it is to be paraphrased. So we keep quotation in this case. So this is reason number one in using quotation. Is it clear or not? Just tell me.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Doctor,
Yeah.
you mean the value of information that we have is forced us to maybe to become the line or the maybe
Exactly,
the paragraph the same.
exactly. So here we are going to falsify, you know the word falsify, if we are going to paraphrase. So we keep it as it is to keep the value of the information to be given, because it is worded, in a very specific way that it cannot be paraphrased. So this is reason number one. We move to the fourth paragraph. You see now we have example here, but we need just to see the other reason. Sometimes you see it, sometimes too. Is that okay?
Yes, doctor. it's
Okay, sometimes
Yes, doctor.
the exact words are worth retaining because the writer has written very clearly. This can be important when you are trying to express somewhat complicated process or technique, and you know that A paraphrase or summary would be a poor, okay, cousin to the origin. And this is very important. So reason number one, just to keep the value. Here, the second reason, that is what is to be written, okay, originally, the quotation is explaining something you are not able to explain. That is, when we talk about certain fields, mathematics, for example, or even chemistry, something related to scientific fields, okay? So sometimes the original written form, that is what the quotation, will be clear if it is to be kept as it is. But you may fail to explain the same way because it is something complicated. So reason number one, to keep the value. Reason number two, the material to be written is so complicated, so you are not able to explain more clearer. That is found in quotation. So is that understood? So the second reason is about the complicated material that is found where in the quotation. It is explained more clear in quotation rather than to be paraphrased. Wow.
Doctor, can we find this type of maybe keep worthing of information in psychological and philosophical in general?
Maybe. So it depends on the field of study. Sometimes you feel that it is so complicated to paraphrase because what is explained in the original form, the material that is taken by quotation will be clearer than what you are going to do in paraphrasing. So quotation will do here.
I find sometimes it's hard to paraphrase psychological,
philosophical, exactly.
Very complicated.
Exactly. We move to page 80. Page 80. Let us see the other reason. Page 80, the third paragraph. Another appropriate time to quote. Have you seen it?
Yes, doctor. Yes.
Another appropriate time to quote is to take advantage of the words of an authority. The authority does not necessarily have to be a famous person, though just someone in a position to know. What do you mean by authority? Suppose that you are going to have a definition. You know definition?
Yes.
A scientific definition.
Yeah, doctor.
Okay. So you are not authorized to define, but it will be left to a scientist, for example. Okay. So you are going to quote the definition as it is because you are not authorized to define.
Yes.
Is there any question about this? So sometimes, it is a matter of authority. It is a matter of authority. You are going, and when you are going to have a definition, okay? So you are not authorized to define something. So you go to a specific scientist, okay, to have a scientific definition, because here, when something to be read and say that, is that your definition? And say yes, because this is, to be done in paraphrase. Say no, you don't have the authority to define because this is the job of the scientist.
This way it will be even more convincing as people tend to believe
because you are a researcher. Yeah, you are a researcher, not a scientist. So you are going to quote in this way because this is not your job just to paraphrase something that is to be scientifically put in your own research page.
Doctor,
Okay.
and sometimes
Yeah.
when we maybe made a definition for us, it will be easier to understood and explain it, to
Yeah,
clarify.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, we have the last paragraph. Finally, another good time for quoting instead of paraphrasing or summarizing is when you are using the primary source material. As we explained at the beginning, yeah, a primary source is the origin of basic facts on your subject, whereas a secondary source used as summary or use primary source or another secondary sources as its basis. If you are analyzing a novel, for instance, the text of the novel is a primary source, but critics' analysis of the novel is a secondary source. In writing your own critic of the novel, you will no doubt want to quote some of the key passages you discussed. And I believe this will be done in literature. You know, when you have something in literature and you have a novel, for example, you are going to have speeches, you know, speeches.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
speeches will
doctor.
be quoted I mean, in novels or in a drama. Okay, so you are going to take the speech from what? From the novel itself. So it will be what? It will be quoted. So you are going to have a quotation here because this will be taken from, as we said, the primary source, which is, for example, in literature. Okay, so when you are going to have speeches, of course, you are going to have quotations. You see now? So how many reasons so far? We have 4 reasons. Keeping the
Four,
value,
yes.
okay, complicated material, having the authority, and then having something from primary source, more specifically about literature. Is there any question about these things?
Doctor, and quoting didn't
Yeah.
change anyone, just like it is, and put it in a research.
Uh, yes, please.
In a quoting
Yeah.
didn't change anywhere, just like it is, and put it in a research.
Yeah, exactly. So in
Yes.
this case, when we have quotation, we are going to, I mean, enclose it by 2 quotation marks, just to what? To, I mean, identify that this is not our own wording.
Yes.
This is directly taken from the, I mean, original source, and what is to be I mean done is just to what to enclose it or just to insert it in the research paper that we are going to do. So is it okay now?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah,
Yes.
doctor,
Yes.
it's clear.
Okay,
Yes, okay.
then here we have uh, on page 81, there is no requirement always to quote primary material and always to summarize or paraphrase secondary material. Of course, you are simply more likely to quote from primary material because more often it will meet the other criteria for quoting wording that is specifically effective or clear or from authority on the subject. Okay. Now we have when not to quote. Okay. When not to quote. Here, um, uh, we want just to see, I mean, I mean, the very important point for this topic on page 82. Page 82, the 4th paragraph, okay?
Yes, doctor.
Page 82, the 4th
Yes,
paragraph.
Yes,
Summaries
doctor.
to page 82. Okay, when not to
Yes.
quote, okay, when not to quote, what is important here is just to go to page 82 in the fourth paragraph. Summaries to function better than quotations. Have you seen it?
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
Page Yes, doctor.
82,
the fourth paragraph. Summaries to function better than quotations when you presenting basic facts and opinions from a source have no real need for the original wording. So this is the answer when not to quote. Okay, so this is what is important here, just to discuss. Other things will be left because these are related to, let me say, the examples to be explained in the book. Now, we move to page 83. How much to quote? How much to quote?
Yes,
Is that
doctor.
okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Yes,
Uh-huh.
How much to quote? In addition to quoting too often, beginning writers also tend to quote too much. Now, here, we explained earlier when to quote, when not to quote. Now, the amount of quoting, is it just to have one line, one sentence, paragraphs? So we are going to discuss this in this title. How much to quote? In addition to quoting too often, beginning writers also tend to quote too much. Of course, this is wrong. They will quote an entire paragraph when a sentence or two will do, and they will quote a sentence when a paraphrase will do, or phrases will do. One result is that readers have to read more than is necessary, but more important. Okay, so what does this mean? When I say how much can I quote from original source? So this will not be done by one reading. It means that I have to read the original source and then I'm going to decide the necessity. You know the necessity. What is necessary to be quoted and what is not. So this will not be decided randomly. You know the word randomly. This will be decided
Yes.
by, let me say, good reading of the original source, and then we are going to decide. I mean, the amount of quoting or the how much we are going to quote. So here you have to balance. If it is to have, I mean, one sentence, it will be okay. Why to choose? Why to choose, for example, something which is irrelevant? You have to quote what is relevant, what is important, and what is related to what you are going to join with your own writing when you are going to paraphrase. So here, so it is not the matter just to quote randomly. No, you have to study. I mean, how can you quote according to the importance of the material to be quoted, and it will be done when you are going to read carefully and to decide what to be chosen to be quoted. So, but more important, the effect of quotation induced by the unnecessary words. So your task then is to take a hard look at the passage you plan to quote and decide just how much you really need to illustrate your point. So this is what is explained earlier. So here, read your original source more and more, and then you have to decide what is necessary to be quoted. Okay.
Doctor, you mean
Yes.
when you read the passage, when we read the
Sorry.
passage,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
talking about not a scanning reading. We're talking extensive and intensive reading.
Yeah, and here you have to know that again, your own aim of quoting is to be different, Of course, quotation will not be done by one page. So here, throughout the research paper, you are, I mean, in some cases, you are going to quote a sentence or a line. Other times, you are going to quote a paragraph. So it depends. So quotation will go through your own writing in different chapters that you are going to cover in your research paper. So here, quotations will not be the same. And with this case, you are going to have, I mean, a detailed insight in the way or in detailed thinking of what to be quoted, what is necessary, what supports your own title. This is.
Yes, Doctor.
Doctor, another important point is that too much quotation limits recitation, will serve as distraction.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, it means that you are going to I mean falsify, or let me say it. I mean it will ruin. You know the word ruin. It will ruin your
Yes,
own
Yes.
writing. Yeah. So you have to know what is necessary, and this will be included only in your own research paper. Yeah, Shahad, you have something?
Yes, Doctor. When I choose the patient, I will choose depend if it is appropriate with my project.
Yeah, you can see what do we have here on page 84. I mean here in this paragraph, the writer of this research paper consented that the key idea from the original paragraph to 5 words, disposing of the awkward, irrelevant ideas and focusing on the key phrase, the important idea she wants her readers to see. So here we are going to include and exclude. Here I mean the cleverness of the writer, what to be included and what to be excluded. So this is related to the cleverness of the writer. How can writers decide what to be quoted specifically to support the research paper?
And what is related to his material?
Yeah, exactly. Now, we have another title, How to Integrate Quotations, Paraphrases, and Summary. You know the word integration? That is,
Yes,
yes,
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, doctor.
yes. Integration means that you have
Doctor,
unity. Yeah. Sausan?
listen, how must to write? If that there's not rules to specify how much to write, that we will specify and describe according our experience and our topic.
Yeah, yeah. But here, when we talk about integration, we are talking about the way that we are going to unite different ways of tools that we use. I mean, previously, and how to make them. I mean, seem just like one unit. So they are not what we call scattered. Okay, we have quotations, we have paraphrasing, we have summaries, but they seem as one unit. This is our job. We have different ways, but these ways should be coherent, should be related, should be united. So this is not to be achieved easily. We have to know how. We have to know how to make these things seem as one. They are not. I mean, they are not put randomly. They are to be put in accordance to relevance, in accordance to transition. How to
yes,
move from one idea to another. So this will be again related to the cleverness of the writer.
They have to be blended together.
Very good. This is very important word, blended. Yeah. Why to say blended? Because here we need just to keep two things. First of all, to show that they are not the same. If they are the same, it means that it is a photocopy of something to be written and to be put in a research paper. This is one. And this is wrong, of course. If it is to be done this way, it means that we are not doing a good research. And the second thing, just to balance, we should represent that these things are related. So they should not seem that they are the same, but they should represent that they are related. So this is the balance that I want just to recognize. You know the
Doctor,
word
you mean
balance.
they should be
Yeah.
customized?
Sorry?
They should be customized, arrangement.
Yeah. Because here, I mean, research writing is a process. You know, a process. So here, when we move from one chapter to another, when we move from one section to another, of course, this kind of moving should be related. They are not just to be scattered. You know, they are not just to be put in a way that they are not related. So they should represent relevance, and they should be coherent. And the same way that we need readers just to know that they are not to be written in the same way. We have quotations, we have summaries, we have paraphrasing, but these things are not just to be put in the way that it will be recognized as the same. They should be recognized as different ways of writing, but they should represent again relevance. So here, yeah, yes, please.
You say it should be
Relevant, yeah.
Yes,
Relevant.
they should be related to each other.
Yeah,
To make
yeah.
our paragraph unique.
Yeah. Very. Now let us see what we have on page 85. Framing research material. You can achieve with both objectives. That is what the balance between these things, distinguishing the different techniques of writing or types of writing, and with showing the relevance, distinguishing research material from your writing, and at the same time blending it into your writing by using a box or frame, whether you are quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Think of enclosing your research material in an imaginary frame. This is very important. You know the word imaginary?
Yes, doctor.
What does it mean? What does it mean? You are not going to do the frame inside your research, but when you read what you wrote, make this frame exist in your mind only, so it will not be shaped. You know, it will not be drawn in. Really in your writing. No, it will be framed, and it will exist in your mind to recognize what is to be written here, and it will make some sort of let me say a classification of your own writing, whether paraphrasing, quotation, or summarizing. So is it clear? What does it mean when I say imaginary? It does not exist only in your mind. Okay, so it will not be drawn really. That is, you see here, think of enclosing your research in an imaginary frame, something separating the research material from the rest of the paper. You see now on page 85, you see now this box. Can you see this box?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah,
Yes, doctor, we can.
this is the frame, but this will not be drawn really. This should exist in your mind only. Just to recognize what do we have. Of course, we have quotation. You can see what do we have here. You see now the quotation that we have inside this way of writing in this paragraph, and within these things we have something to be written as paraphrase. So these things are existing together, but you can frame them to recognize these two types of writing, that is paraphrasing and quotation. Now, we move to page 86. When to frame. When to frame. Do you always need to introduce research material by mentioning the source? No, but you must be very careful when you don't. What does this mean? When you frame, what do we have? You have to introduce what you are going to do. For example, you are going to do a quotation within your own writing. You have to tell previously in advance, okay, before doing the quotation. Do not put the quotation suddenly. Introduce for it, or make a transitional sentence to say that, for example, in the following definition, we are going to see. So here in the following definition, you are going to introduce for your reader that you are going to quote a definition, and this will be enclosed by quotation marks. Is that understood when I say
Yes, doctor.
to introduce? To say previously, before doing quotations, for example, to tell the reader that you are going to do something. That is what we call introduction. Introduction, not the introduction that we said about the parts of the research. No, it means that introductory idea or transitional sentence that we are going to make when we are going to move from one type of giving the information, whether quotation or any other things. So you are going to tell the reader what you are going to do for the next step. This is what we call introduction. So here and the note number, you see here in the mid of this topic, the rule then is to introduce. Can you see these things? By the way,
Yes,
the
doctor.
rule
Yes.
then is to introduce research material whenever there is a chance that the readers may think that they are reading your words or ideas if you don't provide the introduction. The note number tells them clearly where the borrowing ends, but the introduction tells them clearly where it begins. So here when you say introductory, there are certain numbers to be put here in things that you are going to write. If you check with me at the top of page 86, you can see numbers here when you have for example brackets, and we have before the brackets we have number. Can you see number 6?
Yes,
We
number
have
six.
here number 6. So this is what we call number, just to have these are just like punctuations. When you say punctuations in writing, just to prepare readers that we are going to introduce something, or just to refer to something that is to be mentioned earlier. Okay. Introducing research material. An introduction also serves another purpose, one helpful for blending the research material into your writing. It not only says that material came from another source, but it identifies that source, and readers are curious about that. They probably don't want to know in the text of the paper where and when the material was printed, but they would like to know who said it. That applies to quotations as well as to do paraphrase and summaries. Okay. On page 87, here the fourth paragraph. Finally, there is one more good reason to introduce material. Introductions of some sort almost always are necessary for long quotations. So here, with introduction, we know that when we have long quotations, and if it is necessity just to have long quotations, there must be an introduction for this, just to tell that we are going to quote something from the original source. So introduction will make as a transitional point, just to refer to readers that they are going to have long quotations that is related to the material of the research. Well, we have page 88. We have plagiarism. You see here, this is very important topic. Okay, what does it mean? We have the definition of this term, which is found on page 88. It is a form of dishonesty. That is what? That is presenting someone else's words or ideas without giving credits for them. This is a definition, by the way. So you have to know what does it mean, and you have to know how can you explain. Here, what does that mean, and what does this term mean? That is, we are going to have some piece of information which is to be put in the in the research without referring to the full documentation of the material. So the material that is to be written in the research is written without references, without referring to the sources that is selected from. So this is what we call plagiarism. It means that we are not honest to mention who is responsible for the information. So the reader will conclude that this is ours, but in fact it is not. So is that understood? So with this
Yes.
type of writing, we are not honest, because we are mentioning ideas or thoughts that are not ours. When we are not referring to that, it means that they are ours, but in fact they are not.
So he is maybe stealing the information.
So this is what we call dishonesty. Dishonesty, when you are not referring to the material that is to be taken from which source. So you have to put full documentation. So what does it mean? It means that when you quote, you once you are going to finish, you are going to encircle the source that you chose and quote. So putting these things without having the reference, it means that you are dishonest. You are saying that these are my own ideas, but in fact they are not. So once you are going to have something borrowed from other sources or ideas that are taken from scientists, you have to cite it. You have to put the full documentation for it, just to refer to readers that they are not your own ideas. They are taken or they are borrowed from others. This is just to avoid plagiarism. That is what the dishonesty of presenting the material or the information. So is it understood?
Yes,
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 doctor.
So to avoid it, okay, to avoid it, yes, please.
it is presenting someone else work or idea as well.
Exactly. So once you are going to take these things, you have to cite it. What do you mean by cite it? You know, cite it.
Yes,
CITE.
doctor.
You have
Mentioning
to
the
put
research.
the documentation or the document of the reference that you have, the writer, okay, the name of the book, or even the writer, the I mean. The year of printing maybe, and the page from which page that you took this information. These should be documented. This should be cited the way that to make real that they are not your own ideas. Okay,
We also
so
have
here,
to
yes,
enclose them.
yeah.
Sorry, doctor.
Enclose
We
them
also
by
have to enclose them.
exactly.
Yes.
This is what
Please proceed.
that is to enclose them by two brackets. It's just to mention the name of the author and the year of printing and the pages. Okay. So here
Yes.
we have points just to represent what's meant by plagiarism. Presenting someone else's idea but not documenting it. So the idea seems to be yours. Presenting someone else's words without documenting them, so they seem to be part of your writing. Quoting someone else's words, perhaps even documenting them, but failing to use quotations marks, even if the note readers still will think the words are not are yours unless you use quotation marks. If you are careful to keep track of your sources, words, and ideas when you take notes, and then are careful when you work the material into your paper, you are not likely to be guilty of any of these errors. Okay. Um, I believe with this we finalize chapter 6. And with this, I want just to tell you something that
Yes.
again we are having only the important information. Other illustrations or examples are not necessary. So what is left, by the way, if we want just to consider when we have, for example, chapter 7. If you check in chapter 7, we have a sample. This
Yes,
sample,
doctor.
this sample, we know that things that are tackled early in the previous chapter will be, let me say, existed. So what I want you just to have a look on it. Okay, we are not going to discuss it. By the way, chapter 7 will not be, considered as a material, but it is an example just to see what we discussed earlier in the previous chapters. How is it to be, presented? Okay, and it is only just to what to be noticed only. We don't have a piece of information just to be taken from, but you can consider these things as examples for the things that we discussed earlier. So, for the coming chapter, we are going to have chapter 8. We are going to have chapter 8 for the things that we are going to have just like punctuations for the things that we are going to have for the research paper. So is it clear for you?
Yes, doctor.
Yes,
Yes.
doctor.
For
Okay, okay,
what is to be
Yes,
included
doctor.
and what is not. Yeah. So what I need you just to know that for the coming chapters will not take too much time. We are going to refer to what is important, and we are going to leave things, and we are going to focus on the oral exam, and this is very important for you because what is left. I mean the time for this course will end. I mean for the coming month, we are not going to have too much time. Only
Yes,
2 weeks, only 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and the final examination will be at the end of, let me say, coming month. So what we need just to finish with the textbook, okay, and we focus on only on the oral exam because this is the last thing that we are going to do. So it will be an assignment, and it will be, let me say, an oral exam, and I hope that all students will participate to take their own marks. Any question about these things?
No,
no,
thanks.
everything is clear.
Okay.
Everything
So
is
okay. So with this, we are going to finalize our lecture. Later on, I'm going to send you an assignment. I mean, in the Google Classroom, just to send me your own titles to discuss it for the coming lecture.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.